The first secret in Act 2 is Us, an NPC and potential companion you can find on the Nautiloid in Act 1 if you safely remove it from Myrnath. However, after the Nautiloid crashes, Us is nowhere to be found until Act 2. But if you freed Us in Act 1, then you're actually going to find within the Mind Flayer colony's morgue, inside of a cage along the wall, your old companion Us, who can become your permanent companion if you free him. You'll encounter a humanoid named Chop that you'll either need to convince him to release Us or slay him for the key to the cage. But once you free Us, you'll receive an item called Summon Us, which is described as a sticky, graying mass exuding a slightly sweet, putrid odor. You can summon Us once every short rest, and Us has 65 HP at level 4 and can claw your enemies. But what's probably one of the coolest things about Us is that it will magically change its form to a cat when entering town to avoid causing a panic. What a good brain kitty. And if you like that tip, don't forget to click like and subscribe for more Baldur's Gate 3 videos. Coming in at number 2 is the Shadow Wraith Pet. In Act 2 within Balthazar's hidden room, there lies a necromantic sigil inscribed on his workbench. If you interact with this sigil as Gale, you can use the materials remaining on the bench to create a shadow lantern. One dead pixie and one broken moon lantern later, and Gale has a new lantern which can be used to conjure a formidable shadow lantern wraith. This wraith has 24 health and can use strength drain, causing 3d8 necrotic damage and possibly leech its target's strength by 3. It can also use necrotic claws, which deal 7 to 17 damage. This level 6 necromancy spell requires a medium or small corpse and can be used once per long rest. Not bad at all. Coming at number 3 is Mystra's Benevolence, the alternative choice. Instead of having Gale craft the shadow lantern to summon a Wraith Pet, you can instead choose to destroy the necromantic glyph. If destroyed, Gale will gain Mystra's Benevolence, a permanent buff granting advantage on concentration checks. Now this can be incredibly powerful since spells requiring concentration can shift the balance in a fight and make all the difference for you and your party by maintaining them. And number 4 is the Absolute. You can actually find the Absolute within Moonrise Towers by following the hints left within its halls. There's an ogre named Mig who claims to hear meat sounds coming from the walls and above the barracks. While the guards disregard her, if you do not, you can find something amazing. By returning to the main entry hall and climbing the ladder immediately on the left near the goblins, you're going to eventually find a crack in the wall. There'll be some dialogue options, but if you dare to put your arm inside that crack, you get to have a chat with what appears to be the Absolute and learn some very interesting things. Coming in at number 5 is the legendary mace known as the Blood of Lathander. This incredible mace will literally save your life when you reach 0 hit points, healing you for 2d12 and healing your party for 1d6 upon your would-be death. It also allows you to cast the incredibly powerful Sunbeam Evocation, which deals a massive 68 radiant damage, searing and blinding all creatures in its path for 10 turns. And believe it or not, you can recast Sunbeam to move it without expending a spell slot. This movement of the Sunbeam doesn't even break Sanctuary either, so it's incredibly powerful on a cleric. Now, if that wasn't enough, it also sheds Lathander's Light, blinding fiends and undead within 6 meters. Now, to acquire this legendary mace, you must travel to the Rosimorn Monastery and complete a number of puzzles involving gathering and placing weapons on altars, and later delving into the depths of the Githzerai Creche to find where the mace is protected by even more traps. You almost feel like Indiana Jones down there, but this is definitely not going into a museum unless you call your backpack your museum. If you succeed in overcoming these trials, this powerful legendary mace can be yours. Number 6 is the Filigreed Feywild Bell. This bell is a reward you can get from freeing the pixie trapped within the moon lantern held by Karnis, Light of the Absolute, the Drider. Any other moon lantern won't work. It has to be his. You can take it from him at any point as long as the moon lantern is never used as a weapon, which would lead to the demise of its inhabitant. Once you've pried the moon lantern from Karnis's body, equip it and use the new Inspect Moon Lantern ability you've obtained by equipping the weapon. This will start a dialogue with the pixie inside or let you know that all that remains inside is a puddle of blood and pixie wings if the weapon got used. If you free the pixie, you'll be rewarded with the Pixie Blessing condition, which prevents you and your whole party from being affected by the Shadow Curse, and you're also given the Filigreed Feywild Bell, which allows you to renew the blessing if it ever falls off. This is actually tremendously helpful, saving you from having to carry the Moonlight Lantern constantly as a weapon to protect yourself from the Shadow Curse, freeing up that inventory spot. Alright, number 7 is the Githzerai Mind Barrier. Within the depths of the Mind Flayer colony lies the Necrotic Laboratory, filled with undead monsters. After you clear the room, you'll find a brain puzzle to solve. If you manage to solve it, behind the door is a brain suspended in cerebrospinal fluid. That brain can be placed in a Mind Archive interface, which is connected to a slack-skinned head. The following dialogue with the slack-skinned head can end in 2 different ways. One option appears to be bugged at the moment and has no effect, leaving you to just choose the other option, which is the one that gives you the permanent buff, the Githzerai Mind Barrier. This grants you a permanent advantage to intelligence saving throws. Pretty awesome. And number 8 is the Signed Travel Visa. This very rare item can only be acquired by giving all of your gold to Garangoth Thorm, the accursed keeper of coins. However, if you don't have at least 5,000 gold to give, then it won't be enough for Garangoth and she will attack you. If you want your gold back after you pay her though, you can attack her anyway and loot your gold off her corpse. But she is a moderately difficult fight. The 600 hit points is deceptive. Each skull that you slay will actually remove 100 of her hit points, leaving her with a mere 6 hit points to slay at the end. However, if that fight proves too difficult and you really want your gold back, you can also cheese the fight. Wait for Garangoth to stand near the ledge and shove her off with your highest strength character. She should fall all the way to the ground and then have less than 100 health left. Focus on finishing her off since the skulls just die when she does, and you can loot your gold back plus a weapon and a key. Now the Signed Travel Visa casts Turn Flesh to Gold. Flesh to Gold is identical to the transmutation spell Flesh to Stone, turning the target into gold instead of stone over 3 turns. However, each turn the target gets to roll a saving throw, and the effect can end before it finishes, turning the target into gold. Combine that with the fact that this travel visa is a one-time use consumable, it's not really the most amazing item in the game, but I still think it's really cool and it's very interesting to try to go and get it. Alright, number 9 is Quothe the Raven. This is an allusion to Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven poem, but it is also a permanent pet you can summon using the Raven gloves, which have the level 3 conjuration spell Summon Quothe the Raven. To acquire these gloves, you'll need to head far to the east in the Shadowlands and speak to He Who Was. He will give you a quest to find a ledger inside the bar known as the Waning Moon. The wretched distiller, Thizabald Thorm, will initiate dialogue with you, leading to either combat or his demise. You'll find the ledger nearby, and once you return to He Who Was, choose the correct dialogue options, and he will reward you with the Raven gloves, and you have a new pet raven. Number 10 is the Potion of Everlasting Vigor. This potion grants +2 strength permanently, which can be very powerful considering that is the equivalent of a feat. To obtain this potion, you'll need to find Araj Bladra inside of Moonrise Tower. She will offer you this legendary potion in exchange for Astarion drinking her blood. Astarion will pull you aside and complain that her blood smells awful and he doesn't want to drink it, but if you press him and tell him to do it anyways, you will lose some approval, but you will gain this amazing potion. I think this is a very fair exchange if you ask me. And finally, at number 11, we have 3 extra Mind Flayer specimens that are easy to miss. The first one that is most likely missed is the one found in the Moonrise Tower kitchen. Within the kitchen, you'll find Lincella boasting her ability to control 3 gnolls. If you initiate dialogue with Lincella and ask her to demonstrate her mind control abilities, you can actually attempt to sever her control over the gnolls with your own Illithid powers, making them ruthlessly tear her apart. You can then quietly take the Mind Flayer parasite specimen from her corpse and not cause any commotion in the process. As an added bonus, you'll get the gnolls as allies later for when you eventually storm Moonrise with the Harpers, but right before that attack begins, there are 2 additional corpses with 2 more Mind Flayer parasite specimens on them, which you're going to want to loot. The bodies' names are Malik and Merim. And that is my list of 11 things you might have missed in Act 2. Anything else you think is amazing in Act 2 that I didn't talk about? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.